there is this idea there of there being these higher realms that exist.
Yeah.
These realms in which the initial emanations or manifestations of God took place.
It's so unified, what we find in the teachings of Islam, in the teachings of Christianity, in the Hermetic writings, in the Gnostic Gospels, in the writings of the philosophers. It's just fascinating how they've all been pointing to the same reality.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآل محمد الأئمة والمهديين وسلم تسليما. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear companion and sister Tiffany.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear father.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much for having me back.
God bless you. Today we want to talk about something that I think is quite interesting. And to get into this topic without giving it away, I think it requires that we start off with a very careful examination of one of the most important traditions or stories that took place in the New Testament and during the life of Jesus. And that is the story of the transfiguration of Christ. This story is a fascinating story, and it's left the scholars bewildered and people unable, the preachers and the priests, unable at times to explain the full motive behind what it is or what it was that Jesus was trying to accomplish.
Okay.
You have this narrative in which Jesus is traveling with his disciples somewhere, and he all of a sudden decides that he's going to show them something. And so he stands at a particular area and he begins to transform into light.
Yeah.
His light body shows all of a sudden. They see him, but it's not Jesus the physical anymore, but they just see him as light. And next to him, they see the souls of two of their deceased prophets and messengers, right?
Yes.
Namely Elijah,
Yes.
okay, which according to Jewish thought, he wasn't dead, but he was raised, right? And then you have Moses.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do Christians think about this? What do they think is the reason why this story was included in the New Testament? What is it that Jesus is trying to tell us or to show us? What is the importance of this story according to what you have learned growing up as a Catholic?
As far as I understand, the story demonstrates Jesus's divinity because the Christians, they believe that Jesus is both fully God and fully man. And they believe that this is a story that shows the divine aspect of Jesus. He was not just a man as he appeared to the people, but he was also divine and he had God within him.
So that's how the Christians explain it. And the problem is that Imam Ahmad al-Hassan in the book of Monotheism, he says, if we looked at and accepted the validity, like if we said that there was no corruption that took place in the New Testament and we accepted the whole book as it is, that you cannot use anything in the book actually to prove that Jesus was divine. Like there's nothing in there that proves that Jesus is God. And I think that that's an interesting statement from Imam Ahmad al-Hassan. And certainly it's a notion that the Muslims agree with in large. And I think that it's also something that we find a lot of former Christians stating very clearly, right? They say that like actually in order to achieve this belief or this aqidah that Jesus is God or to prove the Trinity, like the pastors and the priests, they have to twist scripture and they have to make up stuff and extract from from the book meanings that actually aren't there in order to prove this idea that Jesus is divine or is God. And so if we accept Ahmed al-Hassani's words, which certainly we do because he's the first of the Mahdis, right, of the 12 Mahdis, and he's a hujjah for us, then there has to be something else behind this story. And that's the thing that I want to explore with you today. Are there any other reasons why this story would be placed in there? And I think, and I argue that there is, and there's a very important secret actually that is held within this story, and that we're going to extract it, inshallah.
Okay. I love this story. I'm really excited to
I love it too.
Understand.
It's a very amazing story. So I think that I know that what was taking place here, okay, if read through the lens of other writings, the Quran, the Old Testament, the words of the famous Greek philosophers that we accept and know to be prophets and messengers, as well as through other traditions and religions and narrations, we'll find that there is this idea there of there being these higher realms that exist.
Yeah.
These realms in which the initial emanations or manifestations of God took place. We have this idea, this concept in the Hermetic writings, as well as in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, as well as in the Gnostic texts, that God the Father is unknowable.
Yeah.
Okay? You can't see him. You can't hear him directly. You can't know him or perceive him except by your mind and by your heart. And this is why he had to manifest himself in ways that can be known to humanity as certain characteristics or attributes, as mercy, as love, as forgiveness, all right? Yeah. This is why he had to send messengers to creation or manifest further as God in creation, right? Yeah. And we spoke about how in the book of monotheism, in these higher realms, the ultimate reality, him, he, manifested as Allah, and Allah is basically just a collection of all these positive traits and attributes and characteristics, right? And that then there's a man further that's sent forth as a creature that has within him all of these traits, right? He displays these traits perfectly, and thus he allows creation to know the unknown through beholding these traits that he is the source of.
Yes.
Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. In the Gnostic traditions, in the hadiths, in the divine books, the traits that exist, they don't have a physical body. You can only perceive them through your heart. You can't gaze upon love. It doesn't have a physical appearance, right? Yeah. You can't gaze upon mercy. It doesn't have a physical appearance. These are traits that yet also you can only perceive through your heart and through your mind, and that's why they have to be embodied by an individual, or let's say, take an individual as a veil.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, we live through the experience of our senses, right? So we have to encounter somebody who, that we can experience in order to understand a concept like that. A concept that is not, visible. It can't be seen. It's something that has to be experienced. Exactly.
So you have these ideals, these characteristics, these traits that basically take on the flesh.
Yeah.
They manifest in the flesh in order that creation may know them through the various prophets and messengers, or the hujjas. Or let's say they take these individuals as veils.
Yes.
These characteristics take the individuals as veils. God veils himself through his traits and attributes, veils himself behind messengers, behind human beings, in order that they may know him. And when referring to the soul world, when referring to this world of the traits, right? When referring to this this world that existed before our material world and above our material world. It's described as being a perfect world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A non-corruptible world.
Yes.
Okay. It's described as also being a world of light. Yeah. Okay, which is essentially what takes place in the scene of the Transfiguration, is that Jesus takes off his physical body, or reveals what's behind his physical body, or puts down the veil and gives them insight to his true form. And his true form has no shape really, it's just light that they see.
Okay, so the body being the veil, he just removes that veil and they're able to see
that veil. Okay. So what do the people look into? They look into the real world. They look into the world that this world is modeled after. Okay, because we know that according to the teachings of Mani, according to the Gnostic teachings and the Gnostic words of Jesus, right? According to the Bible itself, that this world was fashioned upon something that existed before. Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, they talked about and they called it the world of forms,
yes,
right?
The world of forms,
yeah, it's that place where the perfect tree exists.
Yes.
It's that paradise, right? That Jannah. There's perfect rivers that are over there. Yeah. These rivers here are cheap imitations, worldly, physical imitations that have an expiration date. Yeah. Our bodies are reflections of our souls. They are also veils of our souls. So we exist here, but we actually came from over there. We descended from that perfect world that's everlasting, and to that perfect world shall we return, right? We're from God, and to God we shall return. This is what people say when individuals die, right? So then there's, in these traditions, in these religions, there's these two worlds, right? In the philosophical thinking of the philosopher prophets, there were these two worlds: the perfect world, the world of form, the world of light, right? The world of the souls, and the physical world here, in which these concepts come to manifest. We believe that you can't see a soul with your physical eyes, right? Because the soul is light, and it's something that doesn't have form like we have form, right? So it has to take on the flesh. But there's a world that we came from that we'll go back to, that we can perceive the light only if we are light that's like it. Okay? And so what's taking place here is not that Jesus, in the scene of the Transfiguration, is telling them, hey, I am God. Right? Because if he was saying, hey, I'm God, that also leaves other things that are a little bit unexplainable. Like, for example, the existence of Moses and Elijah. But rather, what Jesus is saying, what he's showing them, is he's showing them a window into the world of forms, the world of light. He's telling them, this man right here who passed away, who you believe goes back to God and to heaven, Moses, right? The most important figure in all of Judaism. Where did he go? He went to the heavens above, to God. Well, look, he's here now. I'm here now because I came from that world too. I descended as light, and that is my nature. That is really what it is that I am. What's not important is the flesh. What's really behind is this. I came from there. I brought from where I came from Moses, and here I am. And also here's Elijah, a person that you guys believed was raised to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where was Elijah raised to? Elijah was raised to the world of forms, the world of reality, alim al-haqiqa. And now here is where all of the great secret plays out. And that is that now the Gnostic texts that we've been reading in the Hall of Mysteries makes a lot of sense. Like the secret book of John, right? In which at the very beginning of it, God sent down the light, which was Jesus, into the physical world, right? He came down from that world of forms in which these notions exist, these traits, wisdom and love and providence, etc. It also says at one point that God sent down the 5 lights. So there's a descent of lights. that came down and acted as, or disguised themselves as, advisors to Yald Ba'uth. So you have this notion of there being this perfect realm, the world of form, and light is descending into the physical world. That's what Jesus was trying to tell them. And that's where he was trying to tell them Elijah went to when he was raised. Where's the mystery? Where did he go to? Elijah was light that came down to this world. Yeah. And when he went back up to that world. Yeah. And so Jesus, when he was raised into the clouds, where is he? He went back to that world, the world of forms, okay? Yeah. And he's watching from that world of forms here. And one day he will descend back to that world of the physical world from the world of forms. Yeah. And so this idea that's in the Quran of God raised him, they thought that they killed him, but they did not. Of course they didn't kill him because he's the light, right? Yeah. You can't kill light. And God raised the light. And where did the light get raised to? Back to the place that it came from. Yeah. Okay. To the Father. And it will come back down again. Yeah. Okay. And Muhammad and the family of Muhammad, they are also a light. And so when we speak about the raising of Elijah, the raising of Enoch, the raising of Jesus Christ, in Christianity and in Islam, when we speak about the disappearance or the absence of Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam, where did he go? Yeah. Obviously, the same place where Jesus, Elijah, and all of these prophets went. Yeah. And so there is this realm, a world. The world, Imam Ahmad al-Hassan says, Alim al-Haqiqa. It's the world of reality. Yeah. It's a world that is for Muhammad and the family of Muhammad, for the prophets and the messengers, the Shia, right? But specifically for Muhammad and the family of Muhammad alayhi salam. And it's the world that they enter into and exit from. It's the world that is non-corruptible, right? Yeah. Hence, Imam al-Mahdi is able to live all of these years. Hence, Jesus is able to live all of these years and escape death because he's raised from the corruptible world and they are preserved in that world and then they come back down to this world.
I mean, it's so fascinating. I think we've been thinking about it in too simplistic of a way over time. Like we've been thinking of raising as like a physical raising. But as far as I understand from all of these teachings and from this instance of the transfiguration, it's more like a veiling. You know, we are just veiled from that world of forms. We just can't see it and perceive it.
Yeah. And so I think that it means a lot. And I think that a great mystery has been revealed today, and that is that we have identified now, which nobody's been able to do before, where Jesus went. Where did he go? Where is Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam? And now the people know that they are in a place which is the world of reality, which is the world of forms. And we've tied and showed how Christianity, Islam, Judaism, the words of Socrates and Plato and the philosophers, all tie together. Yes. And there are even other philosophers like Plotinus and Proclus and others that spoke very deeply about this notion. They spoke very greatly about this notion, and they spoke about how that these characteristics and these traits and attributes, in order to manifest in this world, they would have to take on the flesh. They would have to appear in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. And they would have to appear in shapes and forms that would be significant and meaningful for us. And I think that in that is a great parallel with the words of Imam Ahmad al-Hassan when I was having with him a conversation one day. And we were speaking about Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam. And he was saying that Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam's son is light. And I said, he's light? And he said, yes. He said, and Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam, because he's light, he manifests in different forms in every day and age for the people.
That's
and
interesting.
He said also that if the people, because I was asking him, okay, in what way, shape, or form would he appear to the people when he makes his appearances today, and I was referring specifically to the moment where Muhammad ibn Hassan al-Askari alayhi salam unveils himself publicly to the whole world. What will happen And Imam Ahmad al-Hassan proceeded to explain that he would make a descent from the place that he was, and that he has made many descents from, and that he will make another descent from, and that is the world of reality, or alam al-haqiqah. And he will appear to the people in the form that they expect him to appear in, which is a very good-looking Arab man with green eyes, with a brown hair, brown beard, brown mustache, wearing clothing that they would expect him to be wearing. And that is because that is their expectation, and the light and these divine attributes, when they're coming down here to influence or to communicate with us, they will have to take the image of something that is meaningful for us. And so it's not that this is necessarily what he looks like, but this is how he appears to us as. And that's why the Imam said, if the people's son believed that the Savior was a tree, like a giant oak tree, then the light would manifest, or Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam would appear to them in the image of a giant oak tree, because that is what's meaningful for them. And I think in this too, and in this notion, we uncover the great mystery that takes place in the reappearances of Jesus after the crucifixion, right? He appears to them as a gardener once. He appears to them as an unknown man on the road to Emmaus. He appears to them as a fisherman at one point. And so Jesus is trying to carry on with the same lesson that he was giving at the time of the transfiguration of the Christ, which is basically saying that we are light, and we come from the body or the world of forms, the world of light. And when we come down to this world of bodies, or the physical world, we take on any appearance that we like to take on. And you can look for us everywhere and in all things, and we can communicate to you through all things, because we are making a descent and we make ascents too.
Yeah, I mean, what you've said today just ties together so many different things. And I mean, there are even more examples of him appearing in the Gnostic Gospels after the event of the crucifixion, right? Like he comes to his disciples as an anonymous pearl salesman as well in one of the Gnostic Gospels. It's so fascinating. It's so unified, what we find in the teachings of Islam, in the teachings of Christianity, in the Hermetic writings, in the Gnostic Gospels, in the writings of the philosophers. It's just fascinating how they've all been pointing to the same reality, which is there's a world of forms, and there's a world of light, and the true nature of the emanations of God is light, and they just take on this veil of the human body in order to teach us and to guide us.
Exactly, and that's why the angels would appear to mankind in various forms as different types of people and different appearances throughout history, because the angels in their essence, and the souls, these righteous souls, especially the divine messengers, these souls are very high souls, and they are actually without physical bodies. They are light, and in order to exist in this world and to carry out their mission, they have to basically take on a human form or a physical body of some sorts in order to communicate with us. And so all of religion basically is this attempt of the physical material world to communicate with a world that is immaterial and has no form.
Yeah, eternal, perfect.
Eternal and perfect, and they do so through prayers, through rituals, through religion itself, and through ascending and descending and veiling behind particular things.
It's so beautiful. So our connection, that like rope, that we can hold on to, that connects us to that world of forms, is the Imam of the time, is the one in whom the Spirit of God resides.
It is. Well, God bless you, Tiffany, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, Father.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.